Hello everyone, Bells from Bell's Basement here. Welcome back to my first video of this year. Well, it's actually not gonna be really much of a big opener. I'm going to be making this one entirely unscripted. I usually tend to make this kind of a best songs from last year videos on a normal edited video format, but I don't know if I'm actually gonna be doing this one unscripted instead because I'm generally taking a bit of a break from making videos for this channel. I am gonna be coming back, of course, but like a little bit later this month, maybe in February. That's mainly because I don't know, the Weezer one that I made last month, that was like an hour long. That was like the biggest video that I've ever made, and it took a lot of energy from me. I don't know, it kind of led me a little bit burned out. Like it left me completely exhausted, and I don't know, I kind of needed to just revamp my life a little bit, and I don't know, just kind of take things a little bit more slowly. But still, I do want to express my thoughts on, what was my favorite music of last year, what were my favorite songs of last year. And believe it or not, I'm actually not really that fond of 2024. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that 2024 was a great year for music, especially for pop culture. Because, yeah, it did feel like more happened this year when it came to pop events and, a lot of, I don't know, I mean, there was like the whole Kendrick-Drake beef, there was the whole Brad Summer thing, there was Kendrick dropping an album, a lot of Kendrick-related stuff. But it did feel like a more prominent year in pop culture compared to last year, and that's what I'm gonna, at the very least, give it for. But personally, I don't know, this year didn't really had that much that I particularly loved. It just kind of stands in a similar ballpark as 2023, just not one of my favorite years personally, but there's still, some music that I do want to talk about, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. Let's start with number 20, Alone by The Cure. The Cure was a band that, I mean, like many other people, I wasn't really expecting to come back to this year. I mean, I know that there's like a lot of, 21st century, like, bands from the 80s, the 90s, or even the 70s that are still making music. The most shocking one of them all is Yes, but I'm not really gonna talk about that because I don't really care about Yes. It's just the first thing that came to mind. But The Cure, they came back this year, and the shocking part about it all is that they made a really good album. Like, the album that they released this year, it's actually on my top 10 albums of this year. Well, on 2024 because it's now 2025, but this song is really good. It's the opener to Songs of the Lost World. That's what the Cure album is called. And I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I was surprised by. I mean, just how dense, rich, and large the soundscape were on the song were just kind of like, oh wow, I mean, they really are embracing their soundscapes in here. Because I mean, they had The Cure generally, like, a lot of their albums, like, the soundscapes, the general sound, like the gothic sound was kind of like part of their appeal, but they really are embracing that with this album. And it also is like a lot of songs from this album, especially this one and another one that I'm going to be talking about later on, does spend a lot of time, just kind of like building up that instrumental, like just kind of just sucking you deep into, its, its nature, its soundscapes. It's a very soundscape heavy song. And another thing that I was really surprised by it is that Robert sounds as good as ever, I would say. Like, it's actually surprising how much he was able to retain that, that strength in his voice, compared to, the 80s, like arguably The Cure's golden age. Like it still sounds very powerful. He still was able to retain a lot of that soul into it, and I think that's shocking. Like, I don't think I've actually seen a similar case for a lot of other bands that are this old. Hell, a lot of '90s bands don't really even get to keep that at all. Like, look at the Offspring. Fucking Dexter sounds kind of horrible in the newer albums, but I don't know. You gotta give it to Robert. He really managed to surprise me, and I think he did manage to surprise a lot of people as well, because I've seen a lot of people talk about how good he sounds in this record, and I have to agree. Number 19, Polkomania by Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah, this is probably the weirdest pick that I ever had to make for a top 20 best songs of a year from this decade. I don't know, this is kind of like Weird Al is definitely someone that I really like. I think a lot of his parodies and original songs are really good and really funny. He definitely, from the very start, or at the very least since the late 80s, he has been able to retain, his own sense of charm. He's been very influential and kind of legendary when it comes to, comedic music. I don't know why I'm calling it comedic music. I don't know. But he's, I like the guy. He's funny. That said, though, the thing that I've always liked about Weird Al the most has always been his polkas. Like, especially the last 3 polkas, and that's actually mainly not even because of the songs themselves, although the songs themselves are really fun, but that's mainly because of the animations that come along with it. The second to last one, I guess it wasn't necessarily an official one, but it's such a good fan-made project that it might as well be the official one. And now we have Polkomania, which not only Weird Al still retains what I like about his polkas to this very day, but animation wise, like when it comes to the videos, I think this is probably my favorite one so far. Like, there's a lot of really fun animation bits for this one. I'm even surprised, like the guy that used to make like the fan made Weird Al videos like on Newgrounds, the guy who made the Everything It's Wrong and the Albuquerque videos. He actually makes a return here. Like, he for the first time he actually officially appeared in a Weird Al music video, and I think that's really cool. And the animation itself is also really good. What I'm saying is that this is definitely something that you need to listen to with the video, because I think that's part of the charm of the polkas to me. Not saying that the ones before he started to make the videos are bad, because they've always been really fun, but I think the music videos with all of the several animation segments gave a new life to his polkas, and I think that's really cool. Number 18, Starbuster by Photon's DC. This is actually an album that I've listened to recently, like actually not too long ago, like about a month ago, maybe even less. The album itself is, it's not bad. I actually like it overall somewhat. I think it's very hit or miss, but I do think it has slightly more hits than it has misses. However, it does have 2 really good songs that were so good that they managed to make it into my top 20, and one of them is this one. One thing that I do actually really admire from this decade compared to, well, honestly every other decade prior to it, is that rap and rock, like the fusion between the 2 genres, has never sounded as good as right now, and this is definitely proof of that. I think this is something that I started to see with last year with the Slow Tie record. Like, that was also a record that combined rap and rock. Well, I guess British rap and rock, but still. And just doing it so great, like just so naturally, effortlessly great. This is, I think, definitely the same case. I probably don't. I don't think I like it as much as how Slow Tie did it, but still, I love how the song sounds. I think the song definitely manages to carry a great sense of groove to it, and it's very catchy as well. Like, I don't know, I don't really have a lot to say about this one, but I think it just really works for me. Number 17, That's How I'm Feeling by Jack White. This is actually another artist that I think has surprised me this year. Not to say that Jack White has never made good music. For crying out loud, he was, part of the White Stripes. and even his solo music, it's not necessarily bad. It's just that I never felt that strongly about his solo career right until now this year. I think the album that he dropped this year is, I think, definitely his best so far. Like, I think it definitely puts all of his influences and what he has been trying to do for like over a decade in his most refined, and I don't know. This is like definitely not only the song itself, but like the whole album is like, it definitely comes out of pure, genuine passion for blues rock and the influences, the sound, and everything. He definitely embraces that to the absolute most in every song. I'm picking this one mainly because I just really like the riff to this one as well. Like, it's just such an instantly catchy riff. Like, it definitely sticks in your head very easily. And I mean, of course, Jack White. I like Jack White's performance. It's very good. I like the sound of it all. It's, again, most of the things that I like about this song can apply to the whole album as a whole as well. It's a really good album, and this is a really good song. Number 16, Blues by Jordi Grip. This album, from what I've seen, I think has been one of the most acclaimed of this year. Well, of last year. I keep forgetting that we're now in 2025. But yeah, I mean, the new sound, I think, hasn't been an album that I've seen a lot of critics, a lot of people in general just praise back to back. Maybe not necessarily as mainstream as something like, Brad or the new Kendrick. We'll talk about Brad later on, but yeah, I mean, I've listened to this album. I think it's really good. I think it definitely has a stronger first half than the second half, which is, I think, still good, but I definitely prefer the first half. But still, what it does, I still think it's like good from start to finish. And this is definitely one of my favorite songs, and that's mainly because I generally really like Black Midi, and this is a song that I think has a lot of that Black Midi influence, maybe even Black Midi worship, but the good Black Midi worship. Like, I don't know, it just kind of does a lot of things that I like about Black Midi. I mean, just the great sporadic vocals, and just, I don't know, the sense of energy, like the sense of unhinged energy that it has. I think it's really great, but it also has a little bit of that of its own style as well. I think it's kind of a good combination of both. Number 15, House of Seldoing by Chelsea Wolfe. This is one of the first albums that I've heard from 2024, and I have to say, this is I think this is the first 2024 album that I listened to, and I thought it was great. This is an album that in my opinion, I think it has a lot of that Portishead kind of sound, like kind of like that dark sound, but I think this album definitely goes for more abrasive directions, especially this song. This is a song that has a very strong and overwhelming atmosphere to it all. Like, really, really overwhelming atmosphere. Like, you definitely feel suffocated by it. And you can also, by just listening to it, I mean, the drums here are very insane. Like, they are definitely in the center of a lot of the overwhelming nature of the song, and I mean, the drums just sound absolutely great. Chelsea Wolfe sounds great on it as well. It has like, just again that very dark and very, I don't know if I'll say gothic, but it is definitely a very strong emotion to it all. It's a really great song. Number 14, 365 by Shirley XCX. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm actually not really the biggest fan of Brad. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible album, but I don't know, man. Like, has been like the most hyped album this year. Like, this album was big when it came out. Everyone was raving about it, and I think by the end of the year, I think it became like the most popular, at the very least, like the most talked about album that I've seen throughout 2024. Like, Charlie XCX had a big year in 2024 for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm just never really been the biggest fan of the album. I don't think it's bad. In fact, I do like some things about it, including this song, which I'll talking about in a bit. But I don't know, what I'm saying is, I think part of the reason why I never really liked this album that much to begin with was because I just never really been that much on board with A lot of the influences that Charlie and just generally, I don't know, the electropop and even hyperpop genre has been doing for like the past decade or so. It almost feels post-ironic to me, to be honest. But okay, I do want to talk about the best thing about this album to me, and that is this song. 365 has always been a song that, even from the first time that I listened to Brad, I was like, hey, you know what? I actually really like this one. There's actually generally a few songs from this album that I like. 360 is one of them. 365 is a song that takes everything that I like about 360 and just elevates it to 11th. Like, not only this song has everything that I like about the album, but I just love how frantic and dynamic it is. Like, it definitely takes full advantage of the more abrasive aspects of the record, and I don't know, it has the best of everything, honestly. Well, the best of everything from this album, but still, I mean, I won't lie, this is a great song. Number 13, Non-Metaphorical Decolonization by Mount Eerie. This is another album from this year that I think it's definitely on my top 10 of 2024. In fact, definitely top 5 of 2024. I think Mount Eerie, I mean, when it comes to Phil's music, like, he never really disappoints me, at the very least from what I've heard from him. And I mean, this album, I mean, I don't think it's as good as, you know, The Glow Part 2 or Mount Eerie, the album, or A Crowd Look at Me, but still, I think it has a lot of aspects from all of those albums that I really love. And this is a great song. This is a song that, I mean, a lot of people were saying that the beginning sounds like Stereolab. I think to me it sounds more like Duster. And I think that's part of the reason why I like this one a lot. Like, the intro of the song is actually my favorite part about it. Like, you know, with its lo-fi textures, its strong focus on shoegaze, and, you know, the melody, which I guess in a way can be better, but like the sound of it really does enhance it, and I guess it sounds right within, you know, the sound of the song. It's great. But I also I admire the political angle that Phil is going for in the lyrics from the second half. I guess I don't necessarily feel as fun about it as some other people, but still, I mean, it definitely works, and it definitely contrasts well with the first part of the song. It's honestly my favorite song from this album. It's very great. Number 12, Russian Roulette by Porter Robinson. Even though this is probably the weakest song on my list, instrumentally wise, the reason why I have this on the list to begin with is mainly because of the lyrics. I really love the lyrics to this song. They just reflect everything that I like about this song and the album, and I think this song does it the best. I just love how sincere, honest, and deeply the lyrics are, and how they speak into the pressure of being an artist, and just kind of finding the balance between doing what you love doing and if your audience is going to love it. Not only does it feel very personal and genuine, but I don't know, this is something that I really appreciate just generally when an artist talks about it, because I mean, I think it's definitely one of the biggest struggles for like a music artist or for a band, and I think it definitely ties also really strongly into your kind of like your mental health when it comes to making music as well. I don't know, it's definitely powerful in that angle alone. And I also like the outro to the song as well. Like the whole Texas Space thing sounds silly, but I don't know, it just works really well. Number 11, Never Ender by Justice. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting Justice to come back this year, and I also wasn't expecting Justice to make a good album again, considering the two previous to it. Okay, to be fair, I haven't listened to those two albums that were released in the 2010s, but I don't know, man, I've heard songs from it and they don't really seem like very good albums, but I don't know, I like this album. I thought this was a good comeback. It's not as good as Cross, but still, I mean, I think it's a decent record. And Neverender is definitely, for sure, the best song that they've ever made since, well, Cross in general. I mean, I just really like this one. I definitely think everything about it really works. I really like Tame Impala's in vocals. Like, they just feel very heavenly in this song. It's a song that I think is generally very catchy. I mean, it has been stuck in my head for like a week after I listened to it. And just generally like the sound and the instrumentation of it all just feels like the perfect combo between, I don't know, something very spacey but also something very dance center. It's just, I don't know, I think it's very infectious. If you're someone who really likes their first album, I mean, I will definitely recommend this song. I think it's very, very good. Number 10, Favorite by Fountains DC. Going back to Fountains DC, this is the other song from the album that I thought it was really great and good enough to make into the list. In fact, to the top 10 even. And that's really because of one thing that I like about this song that definitely carries the whole thing together, and that is, well, its melody. It's not just an infectious, great melody, but the way that the band delivers that melody in like this very euphoric and lush manner, I think it's honestly borderline magical. It's just like the whole song just sounds so great. Like it definitely kind of has that dreamy, like again, magical vibe to it. It's really great. Number 9, Killing Time by Magdalena Bay. So remember when I was talking about the new sound and how it was one of the most acclaimed albums of last year? Well, Imaginal Disc, I think it's probably the most acclaimed album of this year. It's not the most popular, but I mean, I don't think I've seen an album get just so much praise and so much people loving it as much as this one. And unlike Brad, which I felt was, well, pretty overrated, even though it wasn't a bad record, I definitely get behind the hype for this album. It's a great album, even though I will say, it also has the case of me preferring the first half over the second half. But I mean, going back to this song, Killing Time, this is my second favorite song of this album. I think it's also the most underrated one from this album because I don't think I've really seen many people rap around this one as much. But I mean, I don't know, man. This song has kind of like a sense of melancholy that is just, it feels very distinct and unique. Like it feels very relaxed but also very magical. Like the whole song and frankly the whole album sounds very gorgeous. Like when it comes to the production and how layered the sound is, it's not just very gorgeous and really well produced, but like it definitely has its own style to it as well. Like this is an album where you can definitely tell that the band really has their own defined sound and style, and they definitely embrace it to the max with this album. And yeah, this song as well. I mean, again, it just like how I love how melancholic and how magical it feels. And not to mention, like I really like the drums to this song as well. Like the constantly swinging drums just add so much to this track. Number 8, Dusk by Chelsea Wolfe. I was originally going to rank House of Self-Doing higher than this song, but as more as the year went on, I realized that this is actually my favorite song of the album. Like I think this one ended up having the more lasting impact on me. Dusk is, I mean, it's not just a great closer, like it definitely ties a lot of the, I don't know, the soundscapes and the sound of the record, but like I think it's honestly the most sinister and ghostly song on the album. Like, I mean, Chelsea Wolfe's vocals probably sound the best in this track. Like they definitely add so much flavor into that sinister tone. And I have to also talk about the final part of the song. I think it's generally insane, like just the way that the song gets so overwhelming that it feels like it's just kind of crumbling upon itself. Like it feels very nerving, it feels very maybe not frantic, but it's definitely very intense, and I love that about it. I think this is honestly, I mean, this is the only album that I've heard from Chelsea Wolfe, but if this ends up being the best song that I've heard from her, I won't really mind that much because the song rocks. Number 7, Three Drums by Fortet. This is the first Fortet album that I've ever heard. In fact, this album was actually how I first discovered them last year. I actually ended up listening to some of the albums that they've made in the 2010s and the 2000s later on as well. But I really like Fortet. Probably not one of my favorite acts generally, but I do think they have like a very distinct style to them that definitely makes them stick out to me. And I will say this much, even though I don't think this is their best album, this is probably their best song. Like, this is just a really pretty song. Like, it's not only very atmospheric and very deep in its hypnotizing nature, but like, I also love how serene and lush it is as well. And how it feels like a very big song as well. Like, this is a song that I think it's almost 8 minutes, or I think it's generally 8 minutes. I don't really remember, but it's definitely a long song. And man, it definitely uses those 8 minutes really well, like to its full advantage. And I think a part of that is because this is one of those songs where you really get lost in its soundscapes, especially since the song gets more clouded and more, I guess the best way to put it is it gets more blurry as it goes on. Like the sound definitely gets more, well, maybe not overwhelming, but at the very least it begins to have more of a presence in the way that it completely invades you and hypnotizes you. It's just a very lush and rich song overall. Number 6, Cold Reactor by Everything Everything. Now, this is a song that I honestly wasn't really expecting to crack into my top 10, but it did. I mean, I liked this song a lot when I first heard it, but it just kind of keeps growing on me the more I listen to it throughout the year. And I mean, I will make the case that this is probably the best pop song of 2024. I mean, not necessarily mainstream pop, but like, I don't know, at the very least, I guess indie pop or pop rock. I don't know. This is a really good song. It's really damn catchy. It's really damn energetic. The vocals, but first I thought they were kind of corny, but they really began to have, I don't know, more sense the more I listened to it. Great production, great, I don't know, great sound overall. It's a really good pop song. I feel like it kind of speaks for itself, but yeah, great tune. I really tend to repeat myself, don't I? Number 5, End Song by The Cure. We're going back to The Cure, and you know everything that I talked about alone, and how dense and rich and big the soundscape were on that song. End Song takes everything about that and just expands on it just wonderfully. Not just on how grand the song becomes, but like it just feels so emotionally strong as well. Like it feels almost universal on how big the song feels, and it is also the final song on the album. And I mean, just a straight up fitting song for a final song, honestly, because it is the best song on the album and it feels like the most climatic song on the album. I don't know. It's definitely where everything just comes together so perfectly, so tight. Just the best of everything, including Robert's vocals, I think are at the absolute best in here. I mean, just wonderful. It's straight up magical, and it definitely, I mean, honestly, one of the best Cure songs in general. It has honestly almost every glance of its magic. Number 4, Chihiro by Billie Eilish. I know that I said that Cold Reactor was like the best pop song of last year, but I mean, if I were to refer mainly to songs that were just generally mainstream last year, I think this is probably my favorite. I know that this is not as popular as Birds of a Feather, like that was like the true hit from her from last year, but I do prefer this one a little bit more. I don't think this is the best pop song of the year, because I don't really think this is really much of a pop song. It just came from a very mainstream pop artist, so I don't know, take that as you will. This is a great song. This is honestly shockingly great. Billie Eilish has always been an artist that I tend to appreciate more than actually like. I mean, I've always liked her music enough. I mean, I think her first 2 albums are, you know, alright. They definitely feel, I don't know, I definitely tend to appreciate more of how unique and how different they feel more than the music itself. But I mean, they're still not bad. Like I do admire her style, but The new album that she released last year, I think it's definitely the best album that she has released so far, and this song is definitely the best song that she has made so far, in my opinion. Like it is not just a good song, but like it is amazing song. It is definitely, at the very least so far, kind of her, well, maybe not her magnum opus, but like her most fully realized and her most, honestly, even maybe experimental that she has made so far. Like this is not really something that I will expect from like a mainstream artist overall. It's kind of insane. And that's especially when it comes to the structure of the song. It's just it's just structured so differently with how the melodies are arranged and everything. It just feels very sleek and smooth and hypnotizing in a way. I like her vocals. I like a lot of the layers and sound. It's, I don't know. It's a great song. I keep saying the word great, but I mean it's truly great. You need to listen to it. At the very least, this song, it's great. Number 3, Holy Holy by Jordi Grip. This is often labeled as the best song on the album, and I wholeheartedly 100% agree. This song is fantastic. Definitely not only the best song from the album, but it is honestly one of the very few songs from this year that I will consider to be a 10 out of 10. This is honestly kind of a perfect song. This is the third song on the track list of the album, and it just takes everything that I love about those two songs. It takes a lot of the sporadic energy from blues, and it takes a lot of the Latin and jazz rock sounds and styles from the second song. I forgot the name of the second song, but you know what I mean. And it just creates this salad of a song. Like it feels like this salad of several genres and influences that just complement each other, not just in sound but in energy as well. Like it just, I mean, you have to listen to it. It just sounds absolutely insane, and it never loses steam at any point. If anything, the last minutes of the song are, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. Number 2, Bending Hectic by The Smile. This is definitely so far the best song that The Smile has ever done. And honestly, if this was a Radiohead song, like an official Radiohead song, this will probably be in the top 15 at the very least, which is a high bar considering how much I love Radiohead. But I mean, this is a wonderful song that completely blew me away the first time that I listened to it, and it still blows me away. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this one. The way that the song starts, it's just so hypnotizing and relaxing in a completely different level. I know that I've used those two words a lot throughout this video, but I mean, it is what it is. Like that's how the song starts, and it just sounds so good. It sounds so it's so great. Like, do you remember that Animal Collective song that I talked about last year, Magicians from Baltimore? This song kind of has like that, a similar vibe as that song, but I will even say even better. And oh man, the climax. I mean, not only how the song builds into that climax, and also how the climax itself just explodes in sound and scopes, and it feels like it's just crumbling upon itself. It just feels so ambitious, so cinematic, so powerful. Like it is definitely like not only the best song that The Smile has done so far, but it's definitely the most inspired song that they've made so far. Like they definitely knew what they were doing here. And in my opinion, the best song of 2024 is Image by Magdalena Bay. Yeah, I know this is a very generic pick for number 1. In fact, this is definitely the most generic number 1 pick that I've done for any of my top 20s, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I sometimes there's a reason why an album or a song particularly is so acclaimed. Is because I mean, it really is that good. I mean, what can I say? Image to me just feels like the most. I mean, every song on the album feels fully realized, but especially this one. I think it's the best use of its gorgeous and layered productions, And I'm sorry I'm gonna use this word again, but it is also just extremely hypnotizing, at the very least when it comes to the melodies and the overall tone of it. Despite this being my favorite song of the year, I'm not really gonna delve that much into it because a lot of what I love about the song does apply to the whole album as well. But in a way, it also, I would say, does feel a little bit distinct compared to the rest of the songs because the other songs do have more of a colorful and even relaxed, I guess, tone to them, while this one definitely leans more into the hypnotizing side of things. I don't know. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic song. I think it's perfect. I don't think there's really anything wrong about it. I mean, there's really nothing wrong on most of the songs that I've talked about, but I mean, this is a song that you cannot go wrong with a song like this. It's just so gorgeous, so fully realized, so fully inspired, so fully unique. It's very good, and I'm really eager to see what the band will do in the following years because this album in general is definitely a step in the right direction for them. It definitely feels like an evolution. And that was the list. That was my top 20 best songs of 2024. Maybe not as exciting as other years, but I don't know. I guess in general, I just never been, I guess, the biggest fan of this year when it comes to music. At the very least, as much as everyone else. Especially when it comes to the first half of the year, where I feel like the year was particularly pretty weak. It definitely got better in the second half of the year, but still, I mean, honestly, as far as years of music go, at the very least from this decade, I think 2021 and even 2022 are honestly better. I think this is in the same ballpark as 2023 when it comes to, I don't know, I guess what I like about it. Well, I mean, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.